Our next guest is a two-time WNBA champion, part owner of the Atlanta Dream, and a woman who will always remind you that her boots are Alexander Wang. Do not get it twisted. Renee
Okay.
Montgomery is in the building.
This is slander. We're starting out with slander. I did not want to say that, but you was asking questions.
Listen, don't ever. I have no qualms about letting you know or letting anybody know if my boots are Alexander Wang.
Listen,
Okay?
you're wearing what you're wearing. That's all I'm saying.
There's so much to talk to you about. Obviously, you're a player, but a former player. You've been a champion, 6 Woman of the Year, but entering the W space as an owner has been something that has been so instrumental, especially in these last few years. What was that decision like, and how was that process like?
Oh man, I mean, the decision was tough because it's like you never want to leave sports. Like even when your body tells you it's time to leave sports, people don't want to leave sports. So especially not when my body, I could still play. You know, like I felt like I still had plenty of years. But there's these points in life where it's like opportunities come and you have to really make tough decisions. It's like I had an opportunity in front of me that I didn't know if I could obtain. It wasn't like I knew I was going to be able to become a part owner of the Dream. I had to retire first to see if I could become a part owner of the Dream. So for me, that was the hardest part, because if it was guaranteed, I'd have been like, all right, yep, let me hang him up. It's time to go. Like, let's get it. Right. But it was really a journey. And so what that process was like, it was stressful. I just remember there were long periods of time where I didn't hear anything, where I didn't know what was going on, if another group won a bid, if they didn't. And so for me, it was just the process of just staying above the noise in my own mind of, should I have just kept playing ball? Like, what am I doing?
And what was it about the W at that time specifically that made you want to pursue ownership? It's obviously a lot has happened in the past few years, but at that moment, what was the change you wanted to see that you felt you had to be hands-on with?
Yeah, I mean, I think who better to run a sports league than athletes that grew up. Like, I grew up watching college basketball, and then in 96, the Olympics, and then 96, the WNBA started. So it's like, I watched it from the beginning. We're all women's basketball historians at this point. We've seen it from the day one. There's not a lot of people that can say that about a sports league. And so for me, I'm like, I know what players want. Like, I know what I would want, and I know what players want. And so it just started that way of just like, players want to feel like ballers. Players should have special treatments. Players should have a sold out crowd that they run out to. And so these are all the things that I knew I would want as a player. And so I'm so thankful for our ownership group with Larry G and Suzanne, because we're so different, but we're so like-minded.
Well, and you've seen a lot of sellouts this year. You've seen the change that you have wanted to see since the beginning of you being an owner. What has it been like to see that rise in the WNBA? We know there's always been growth, but the growth has been crazy this year. So what has that been like?
Oh, hey, girl, hey, by the way. No, it's been crazy to see. I just equate it to like a volcano erupting. It's like, you know, at any moment it could happen, and you're waiting on that moment. And the 2024 class was that moment. And it's just an exciting time. Being a player in the WNBA, it was such a different type of feeling, because it's like, we knew that we were the best of the best. We knew that this is the hardest league to make, but the attention to our league was just not there. The product was there, the players, the storylines, everything is there. Now we have new fans coming in, they're getting all into the storylines that we already know. They're getting into the relationships, they're getting into the game, the past, and it's a beautiful thing. We knew it while we were in it, but I love that there's so many more people now enjoying the game.
When you look at the WNBA from a media landscape and the coverage that, especially in this last season, regular season, I should say, and the coverage, good, bad, somewhere in the middle, where do you feel the biggest improvement lies?
I would say visibility, and we still got a long ways to go with that. But I love that I can turn on my TV, and on my TV it's headlining a game. And I love that every time there is a game on, I can easily find it. Now, like I said, we could do better, but I'm happy with the progress. Like, I'm kind of one of these people that I celebrate everything. I don't care. It's like,
small wins, big wins.
Pistachio ice cream, let's go. Like,
listen, pistachio ice cream goes hard.
It's my favorite. It's my absolute favorite. So I'm like the type that I want to celebrate all throughout this whole journey, because it's been a long time coming. I mean, think about the players that came before us. Some of them are here. I'm sure you've already talked to them. And then some of them, like a Cynthia Cooper, Ruth Riley, Ruthie Bolton Holyfield, like players' names that people now might not know, but they laid the foundation. So I think it's so lit. Like, I'm so happy for all the fans. For whatever reason you came, welcome. Like, I'm loving it.
Yeah, and you're certainly one of the people that have laid that foundation.
For
Like,
sure.
you are in there, okay? Name your own name next
That
time. Put your own
never.
name in
the
there.
same way I would not say these
You
boots.
named the
There's
boots.
no, I
Might as
did
well
not.
name the
Who
name.
was there when it happened?
I was there.
Okay,
I heard
that's
it.
not. You said, do we have the same boots on? And I said, I don't know. And then what did you say?
No, she said, no, are those so-and-so? And you said, no, they're Alexander Wang. I'm not mad at you. They are Wang.
I gotta make sure. But shout out to Alexander Wang because
Yeah, shout out to Wang.
They did dress me.
You
so
did
that's what's up.
Fashion Week.
Yeah, I did,
Yeah,
did
listen.
Fashion Week with them, so that was dope.
Can't go wrong
Well,
with Wang.
speaking of Fashion Week, fashion has really been a catalyst for the WNBA. It has really speared a lot of the things that we're seeing. How do you think the impact of style has been on the league?
What? I mean, listen, I went to the games when I was playing good and ugly. You hear me? Like, it was not, I don't care. It was not even a process. It was like, I'm coming to the game to play the game. I love where we're at. Like, it is a real fashion show. Even with the Dream, we're trying to make sure that their tunnel walk and how they walk in looks appropriate because we got to match the fits at this point. And I also love that there are brands dressing players. There are players that have their own brands. And so, I don't know, man, I love it. I just think, I had players that I played with before, like a Simone Augustus, where she did come dressed to every game. And I'd be like, what you doing, man? Like,
Where you going?
Like, where you going after this? And she's
Yeah.
like, nowhere. So there's been players that's had it. I mean, I think of sneakerheads like Epiphany Prince, who that's been in the game, but people might know a PJ Tucker, but they don't know Epiphany Prince. And it's like, I love that now people are getting into it.
And when we talk about getting into it, we got to talk about we need to talk. And in 10 years, you might have had some good fits, some bad fits, but you had a lot of important and meaningful conversations on this show. 10 years is a long time for any show to exist on any network. You name the genre, a decade is a very long time. What is the biggest thing for you that you have seen happen in the past 10 years while being on this show that has been the most impactful?
I just think like it turns up more every year where the visibility, I mean, you have We Need to Talk that's appearing at the Final Four, the men's Final Four. You have it at the Super Bowl. You have it at the Masters. That's wild. Side note. So it's just thinking about like all the places now that the We Need to Talk brand is aligned with. 10 years ago, women in sports, women talking about sports, those desks, those seats were very minimal. There wasn't a lot of us there. But now we have a whole show where it's all of us sitting at the table talking about the game. I mean, I'm a sports junkie. I'm sure we all are. And so I think it's so lit that I'm sitting talking with sports experts that I'm watching on the screen. Just last game, they was covering Sunday football. And then we're sitting here talking football. We're talking basketball, tennis. I think that that's good for people to see because it's probably not a normal thing that they see. But yes, women cover sports. Yes, we probably have to be better because we don't have no room for error. Any woman that knows if she covers sports, if we say a name wrong, we get a stat wrong, oh my God. So it's like, you got to be careful. But that's why I think that when we're sitting across from each other, we all know the standard of excellence that we had to be to sit there.
Well, speaking about that, everything that you do, right? You have a social presence that is really great. I love your social channels, but I know that there are people that say certain things on there too, or will point out when you may get something wrong or say you did something wrong when you didn't. How do you deal with the comments that are on social media and those voices that are out there that are scrutinizing you just because you are a woman in sports?
A good clap back every now and then, just a little.
No, I'm very much so toxic positivity. It's not even, that's not even like, I honestly, it's to a fault sometimes, I think, with my wife because this is just an example. She'll be like complaining about something and I'll be trying to give her solutions to the problem. And she'll be like, I'm just trying to complain. Like, just complain with me. My brain, that's the only way my brain functions. So if I see a comment where somebody's talking crazy, which in the world that I live in, people are kind of always talking crazy to me, whether it's from my podcast or whether it's from something on TV, like covering the game. I really kind of just don't even acknowledge that they exist. Like, it's like, I see the good comment and I'm like, oh, that's what's up. I see a bad one. So it sounds crazy because I'm very thankful for the tough skin that I had. I think being in women's basketball, you have to develop a certain level of tough skin because my whole career, people were telling us we were trash, even though we know that we're winning games and we're doing well. So I kind of just became this mindset of like, yeah, I gravitate to the positivity, the negativity. It is what it is. Like, they gonna be there regardless, but I call negative people just a stat. Like, they just added a stat, a view, a comment. You just became a stat. That's all.
Well, I mean, again, another stat, 10 years of this particular show. Favorite memory or favorite conversation you've had on this platform?
Favorite memory, I think it's going to be at the Final Four because
Okay.
whenever we get to the Final Four, it's usually always me, Swin, and Lisa. And there's a game of pig that happens every year. And every year, I don't know why, but I do know it's controversial because the next year people forgot who won last year. So the person that won last year says they won, but then people don't remember it. That's always going to be my favorite because of the competition. But I think talking to Coach Ariema was pretty lit at the Final Four this year. There's a lot of moments. That's why it's hard. But I just think the Final Four moments where we're on the scene, it's always a scene.
Is UConn gonna win it all next year?
Oh, come on, shouts to Paige and the crew. I mean, right now there's a lot of teams that like are looking at Paige like to just say how good the NIL world is.
Right.
Paige went on a whole press run, and we talk about New York Fashion Week. I mean, Paige was
outside.
Paige
Yes.
was outside.
She's
honey.
always
Outside.
Yes.
I'm like,
it-
when school start, girl?
Yeah.
Listen, she probably got straight A's. I'm just saying.
I
I
know.
don't know, but I'm sure. But I just love to see it. Like,
too.
this is on the pro level. She's got the U.S. Open. She's at the fashion shows. She's just a brand ambassador. And so just to see how college is just exploding, it's so wild. Like, I love to see it.
And she's got a swag about her that's just you want to watch her.
Yeah, definitely.
She's built like that. She's built like that.
Yeah, we definitely love to see it, and we have loved to see you on this couch today. Thank you so much, Renee.
We done?
For stopping
You
by.
and your Wang boots. We
What?
appreciate
You
pulling
better
up.
leave these boots
Listen.
alone. But it's mad cold in here, by the way. So
It
I don't
is.
know how y'all acting real chill, but
We have a jacket that we're gonna put on the minute the
The
camera.
minute it goes
okay,
off.
because baby, it's
Yeah.
cold. But thank y'all for having me.
Thank
This
you
was
for
dope.
being
And
here.
congratulations on
Aw.
this. We Need to Talk Now. Big late. I told you this already, but congratulations.
Thank
y'all,
you so
for real.
much.
Thank you, Renee.